So what questions do you have about VA loans, I guess?
So you mentioned having that initial, would you call it origination fee?
It's a funding fee.
Funding fee. That funding fee. What level of disability do you have to qualify for? Because I know some people have more disability than others.
Yeah, I think the big thing is you have to really look at your own individual letter of eligibility in order to see that. I think it is a case-by-case scenario. I think traditionally, and some people may have this already, I think if you have a 50% disability rating and higher, you don't have to. But I think, there are people who have it as low as like 20 and 30% who have had it.
Right.
Been able to not have to pay that. But like I said, it's really case by case. But I don't think there's an exact number.
There's not a written threshold.
I think the big thing is, and this is the most important thing, is those guidelines do change, and I just need to double check. But to my knowledge, there's not a set number. But I would say traditionally, in my experience, if you have about 50% or more disability, you can qualify to not have to pay that funding fee.
Right.
Yeah.
And is that something that as a loan officer you can work with the client or the borrower, and help them get that, help them negotiate that, or is that more of a rubber stamped? Yeah.
So exactly. So like, I can't do anything with that. I might be able to connect them with resources as a veteran to say, hey, this organization or these people helped me get my disability rating, risen higher, and that may result in that.
Right.
But there's not something I can just say like, hey, let me call the VA. I'll tell you, if you're a veteran, the VA sucks. When you try and call them on like a 1-800 number, you're going to be on hold for an hour, but if not more. So yeah, I would say I can connect them with resources, but I can't do anything to change that for them.
Right.
That would be great, but no.
Good old fantasy land.
Yes.
Now,
all right.
USDA loans. I know these are fun for a lot of people.
Yeah, I actually have never originated one, and don't know as much about USDA as much as the other three, but I do know that the USDA, you can qualify for up to 100% financing as well, which is really great. There is a lot more restriction with how. There's not really a restriction with the price, but more so with the debt to income piece, and that's a big one. This is also a big one. People calling me. So anyways, the USDA is really specifically for rural area development. And what that means is, if I'm in a certain zip code, if we're here in Charleston, let's say you want to qualify for a USDA loan, where do you think would be an area that might qualify?
You're looking probably a little further out, maybe on McClellanville. You're probably also looking very much outskirts of Summerville in some respects. Pretty much anywhere where you have big open land is the main thing. Yeah,
so that is true. I think the big thing is you have to look at zoning, and you have to see if the property is does fit within the criteria. So that's something that you can look into on your own. But the USDA is for rural area development. So what that means is if I'm moving to the outskirts or to a very rural area, and in Charleston, like you said, on McClellanville, say I wanted to move out to Ravenel or Hugie or even Ladson, Ridgeville, those kind of areas, there are properties that would qualify for that.
Right.
And the other thing is it can't be a working farm. It could have farm aspects. So let's say I have a farmhouse that I'm buying, and there's acreage,
a barn on it.
Acreage, and I can grow crops if I wanted to, but it can't currently be producing crops, right?
Right.
When I purchase. So yeah, that's the USDA program is a great program. I need to learn more about it. It's not really our wheelhouse.
Right.
We don't really travel out those ways as much, but they still do exist.
Right.
So
some of our less common loans, these rehab loans and arms.
Yes, I love the picture of the arm. It's very, very handsome. It's not even mine. It'd be even more handsome that way. Anyways, So, Walker, what do you think an FHA rehab loan is?